Hey everybody! Today we talk communication basics with a focus on self-communication. Now we'll talk about why is communication with the self important, what is self-communication, and lastly, how do we go about using self-communication or applying it in our life. First off, why is self-communication important? Well, before we go about and communicate externally to the world around us or to create the world around us, we first begin inside. We begin inside with the way that we talk to our mind. And so, by understanding how we communicate with ourselves and how we're talking to, how this inside mind chatter, where this mind is speaking to us, we can get a better sense of how we're creating the reality around us. In other words, self-communication is important because it's the birth and origination of not only the reality around you, not only your relationships, not only the money and wealth that you have, not only your relationship with spirituality, not only your relationship with your own health, but with all of it. So, self-communication at its core is what builds everything around you. That's what makes it so important to get a hold of and to really focus on in your life. So what is self-communication then? Well, we kind of hinted at it a little bit, but self-communication at its core, at its root, is how do we use our mind to create the reality and the life of our dreams. At the end of the day, it's the way that we craft and use words to create experiences and realities for ourselves as well. And from here, this is, as I mentioned, the root, and it blossoms everything else outwards. So that gets to the better question of how can we apply self-communication? How can we apply this technique, or how can we bring more awareness to the way that we speak to ourselves? Well, when you speak to yourself, first off, bring more awareness of how you react or proact to situations out of your control that occur to you. In other words, let's say you woke up late because your alarm didn't go off. So totally out of your control. Let's say your alarm batteries ran out and the morning came and you had maybe a big important meeting that you had to get to, but you couldn't do anything about it because your alarm just broke. So there's multiple ways that you can go about it, but if we distill it down to an essence, there's two real ways that you could look through this experience. In one instance, you could be like, oh man, fuck man, I can't believe the alarm didn't go off. Now what am I gonna do? I'm totally missed that meeting. There's no way I'm getting that client anymore. I can't believe you did this to yourself again, man. Why don't you change the batteries every single time? You always do this, blah, and just kind of going off on that tangent of going and attacking the self, really. Now there's a second reality that one could create. And again, this is just distinct, it breaks down to very high levels. There's the actual methods of it is the communication itself is very distinct for each person, but the ideas remain. Second person wakes up, comes to the alarm I can't believe my alarm, I can't believe this happened, man. Wow, what am I gonna do now? I missed the meeting. Guys, maybe he's not gonna call me. I'll just send him an email and be like, hey, here's what's up. Here's what happened. Well, at least I got to sleep in a little bit. I definitely did need some of that sleep. I do gotta be more attentive and aware to when my batteries need to be changed. Last time something similar happened, and I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't bringing awareness to, oh yeah, it's right around the time that the batteries need to be changed. So cut. So that's two very distinct experiences or reactions to the same occurrence. Now there's very different realities that these two people would experience. I'm sure you guys can see. So the one who's very panicked and who's like, oh man, I can't believe all this happened. What the hell, man? What the fuck? I can't believe I did this to myself again. Just attacking the self. they're not going to create a reality around them that's positive. That's a very negative reality, and that stems from the way that they're talking to themselves. People are not really going to want to hang out with that person, because over time, yeah, maybe for some time they're able to show that they are very that they're polite and all these things, but at the end of the day, at the core, people will get a sense that, oh, this person actually has a lot of issues with the way they see themselves. And so people need to, in general, we need to start letting go of that personality. That's no longer us. Now there's this other man who's just completely, I mean, he's been at that place one time in his life. He's been there before, and he's like, respect, man, I get that. I feel you. I've been there before. At the same time, there's nothing I can do here. This was out of my control. Yeah, I definitely could have been more attentive. There's certain things that I could have put in place that would have made sure that maybe something like that wouldn't have happened. But what can I do? It's an experience. This is all, that's the way life is. Maybe something was meant so that this was not supposed to happen. So, to bring this back into how do we apply this? How do we apply understanding how we communicate to ourselves? Well, first off is just bringing attention to it. So it's when some event that's out of your control that could potentially shake you or stir you, how are you responding? And you don't need to, you'll probably feel a feeling kind of starting from the bottom of your body, like your root, and then just kind of like coming out, and then you might speak words. There's usually at least I get a feeling within my body, and then I was like, oh, there's the words that come out. You don't necessarily always need to let those words come out. You can hold in that experience, and get a better sense of, well, what's really going on internally. Stay with that feeling for a little bit. Let it stir you. Let it make you feel like, oh, and all this, that type of feeling, you know? And it just moves you in ways that you're like, oh, I really don't like this right now. I'm going to stick with it a little bit and see what am I saying in those moments? And then start to bring more awareness of, okay, this is what I'm saying in my mind to myself. How can I change that? What if that wasn't the way I responded? What if I responded in a way that was more positive, that was more lighthearted about this, that didn't take away from the seriousness or the gravity of it, yet at the same time imbued some lightness, some positivity, some play to it? How would that person react? Now it's the fusion of these two that really brings you to become a whole, more aware individual. Not only aware, but just a more true, richer person. I mean, we're not only the negative, we're not only the positive, we're that mixture of the two. So this is what I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Lots to ponder, and lots that I've been working on in terms of understanding the way I communicate with myself. It's understanding when do I want to do the positive guy, when do I want to do the negative guy, because each of them are just as important, but it depends on what lens do you need at what time, and who is the person overall that you're trying to be. So with that, if you guys like this video, like, comment, subscribe, get notifications, send me some comments. I would love to hear what you guys think about this. And with that, I leave you guys. Remember,